All right, Offset's back. It's been about 3 or 4 years since he dropped Father of Four, and I'm excited to unpack what's in this record, man. I'm hella hyped. I'm a big fan of Offset's. We have 21 tracks here. Runs about an hour long, and I'm excited to see what's new with bro. You know, see how he's grown as a person, see how he's grown musically, and let's get right into it. Let's not waste no more time. Thank you guys for tuning in, and let's go. All right, first track, On the River. Let's get right into it. Those hi-hats came in really nicely.
White roll, 20 hoes, white gold, mink roll, lot of pink toes, Ricky O.
Those hums in the background, that's so much atmosphere to this track. He's in the bass, and the way he came in is just all so hard so far.
I had to smash on her friend, and told them both they pity. I got
Cardi raises some eyebrows with that one, Chief. I promise you that. It's a good way to start this album, man. I think that was a good track, man. It's a good way to start this album for sure. The little melodic, soothing melody of the beat is really what kept it going, and Offset was writing the beat so properly, man. So nicely. He had some bars in there that are definitely gonna raise some eyebrows with Cardi. That's just me though, but I think that's a great way to start the album. Brought a lot of energy for sure. Next track features Travis Scott. I have high hopes for it, to say the least, man. Let's get right into it.
Let's have a debate. We talking about popping. I promise I'm feeling no way. I took
the OG Migos flows right there. You can hear it.
I got 5 niggas light of fluid. Got away from the.
He added some orchestra in the background. You hear the ho ho ho. That's crazy, bro. Production on this song is just 10 out of 10. I can't wait to see what Travis does on this track. I really hope he doesn't let me down, man.
You gotta have faith. I'm in a minute. I said ever since we lost bro.
Production on that song, I have to say, is 10 out of 10 for sure. You can fully hear the beat progressing throughout the track. More and more layers that come in, hitting your ears right where it satisfies you. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think that Travis's verse might have been a tad bit underwhelming. I think Offset brought a lot more energy to this track than Travis did, and that was kind of my worry. And I was kind of right. I thought his mixing or his voice or the way he just delivered the verse was a bit dry. I guess you could say dry or monotone maybe is the better word to use. But obviously the beat and the way he was flowing on it was all good. Like, it was still entertaining to listen to. But I think it could have been taken to another level for sure if Travis just had a little bit more oomph in the back of his voice. But overall, 2 for 2 for sure, man. So far so good. Let's get on to the third track now. Worth It with Don Toliver. Let's see what we got.
It ain't nobody doing like you, yeah, nah. Ooh, I need everything cool in the coop like that.
Don is exactly where he needs to be in this bag right now. He's right in his pocket. This is his lane for sure.
I go narco, whacking the nigga that seem close.
I like this bag. I like this bag on Offset. You know, it's a good mix up from what we've heard from him before. Definitely, it's good to see some variety in his music. You can definitely tell that he's grown with the way that he's talking in this track. Man, he's talking about his relationships, the things that he would do for the other person that he's with, the stresses that he would take away. A lot to dissect in that track. It's definitely a different bag than what we're used to hearing from Offset. But I think he does a great job. The beat is really soothing. It's relaxing. Don is flying on that beat, singing his ass off, and he sounds really fucking good too. So I think Don's feature is a check. Offset's verses were also pretty good, man. They were a lot more vulnerable than we've heard him on his past projects, and he really talks his shit out here, ranting about the love that he wants to give and the love that he's willing to accept. And I think it might have gone a tad bit too long near the end, 3 minutes almost. So far, it's not bad at all for sure. On to the next one. Broad Day featuring Future. Let's get right into it. I like what I'm hearing in the background.
Mask on 30 piece. Got it out the
I like a lot more than that now, I promise you that.
From the streets, you probably heard of me.
Offset starts off this song with some much expected energy, if anything, right? This beat's going crazy. We got that little violin sample that's looped in the background that's just constantly attacking you while Offset is going crazy with this verse, and then in between you have this little transition period where you hear these synths that come in that are really melodic, which really adds some depth to this track. So far so good, man. So far so good.
I was knocking at the door and then I kicked the door down. 100,000 times, $1 million broke.
Don't be kicking my door down, man. Stop it, please. Okay? Too many robberies been happening.
A little cash you can get a nigga.
Future rapping over this transition in the beat with the violins at the background is just so vintage. I love when Future's rapping over string beats, man. It's just nothing is more undefeated than that.
Bitch had that dope and I cleave, bitch. Murder squad gon' murder shit. That's all I know.
Where?
All I got is
Yeah, this synth right here, or the violin, amazing. A lot to take away from that track for sure, man. It's a very good track. The production so far on this album has been 10 out of 10. The production, I think, if anything, has progressed in some way, shape, or form. There's always a new instrument that's being included somewhere, somehow, which really adds a lot of atmosphere to this track, if anything. And not just this track, the tracks before as well. Future does his thing, Offset does his thing. They both have good verses. Their delivery is really, really good too. I don't think I heard too many cringe bars in there either. They're obviously not talking about anything too like thought-provoking or anything like that, but like it's a good song. They're writing the beat properly. Their flows are good too. Maybe the chorus a little bit like near the end it started to like irritate me a little bit. But it just makes me want to fucking die. But other than that, not a bad track at all. Next song is Fan. I've already heard it as a single, so we're just gonna skip it for now. Moving on to Freaky featuring Cardi B.
I'm freaky, freak, freak. I'm freaky, freaky, yo, freak.
I think she's trying to say that she's a freaky hoe, but like, I could be mistaken, you know.
Boy, coming like this, asking for a mouth. That's a fact, nigga.
Yeah, I don't like ice cream no more. Don't tell me I haven't.
This pussy pump out platinum plaques, nigga. Hella.
Doesn't that hurt? Is that just me? Is somebody not like concerned for her well-being? No, just me. I'm just a caring person, man. You know, what can I say?
Pussy clean, hella squeaky, bitch.
Oh my god, this is actually painful to listen to, man. What did you just say?
What's squeaky, man?
Yeah, I don't have much to say about that track. That track is a skip. Hop out the van. Who is that, bro? Is that Offset?
I had two pretty hoes to trade with. Brand new Birkin and Kelly for baby.
Two pretty hoes. What does Cardi have to say about this, bro?
That money, she never gonna go away.
Yeah, I just straight up got catfished by the beat right off the rip of that song. Definitely another skip. Two low lights so far. And on to the next one. Don't You Lie.
Don't you lie.
Okay, bro.
Don't you lie.
I won't, bro.
Don't you.
I promise I won't.
Don't you lie. Yeah. Pit brush stiller with the black and yellow diamond. Baby in the bird brush stiller with the black and yellow diamond. Baby back coupe in the seats I recline. Fresh out of jail, I ain't.
That track started off strong for sure. Again, Offset tries to do something different with his voice, which again I think he did better on this track with it than he did on the one before. But I do think this song might be a little bit too long just for what he's talking about. I would have liked the beat switch to maybe happen a bit earlier, maybe a bit more frequently, but a decent track for sure. On to the next one, I'm On.
Must say be strong when you was the king of the throne. Niggas coming.
Not a big fan of that track. I think it was too drawn out, and for the way the beat is composed, you would think that Offset would be talking about something more meaningful, more deeper. I haven't really seen him dig into like his fatherhood bag, talking about what it's like to be a father, since I haven't heard from him in 4 years. But throughout this track, it's basically the same consistent topics that he's already talked about. I don't think it's a good track. It's definitely a skip for me. But on to the next one, Big Dog. Let's see what we got.
Hop in the track called Slide. Bulletproof, I don't gotta hide.
Those strings in the background that are looped going from ear to ear. Production has been crazy on this album so far.
Big dog get you wet. Big dog get you wet.
Look at me, what? What Offset?
I done fucked on the bitch and forgot about it. He got left on the block.
You fucked on a bitch and forgot about it. That's some crazy
Yeah, porta
shit.
potty.
It didn't seem like it had much going from the beginning. It's only 1 minute and 45 seconds long. And I guess it's a very typical track of what you would expect out of Offset. Overall, just don't think I'll be coming back to this track for sure. So, it's a skip, but on to the next one.
Metro.
Oh, we got Metro on this, okay. I'm already hooked.
See the ops when they high.
that's a disappointing track. We had Metro on the production. I think he did his thing, but I think the beat was overall just too stale for it being 3 minutes and 12 seconds long. It was the same beat throughout. Offset didn't really switch it up too much. Again, I think we're at this point throughout the album where I'm trying to look for some other material for him to rap and talk about, really, but seems to be on the same wave. Nothing's really changed. I think if it was maybe a bit shorter, maybe like 2 minutes or something, maybe it would have been a bit more compact, which would have packed a punch, but 3 minutes and 12 seconds ultimately I think is too long, so that song's a skip as well. Next track, Skyami. I can already tell I'm not gonna like the song.
On the boat, we in Skyami.
Unfortunately, another skip for me, man. Just another bland beat. Way too long of a song. This is even longer than the one before with the same beat all the way throughout. There's no progression. There's no melodies. There's no flows in this either. I feel like both of them are just giving a stale verse with no energy behind it. Not really sure what this track was supposed to do for this album, man. To the next one, Dissolve.
You had my back when them niggas at
Unfortunately, another underwhelming track, man. I think this song would have had a lot of justice done to it if maybe Travis was on it. It does really seem like a Travis ripoff song. Overall, man, again, this song is 3 minutes long. Ultimately, Offset is still talking about the same things over and over again, man. He's talking about his relationship and the way that he's trying to change his outlook on relationships and have the person that he's with really look up to his hustle, his business, and do it in a clean way. Obviously, some good topics that he's bringing up here, but ultimately I think in the broader range of things there's not much material here. Fine as Can Be featuring Lotto.
going in triple up double. I like me a bitch out the
Going in triple
gun.
up
I
double.
like me a bitch that can hustle.
They say that Lotto be spitting. If you ask my nigga, he say I be swallowing. Double whatever they
She's
offer
going
me.
in.
Buying Chanel's is comedy. Already bought me every.
I'm very 50-50 on this song, if I'm going to be honest. I think Offset and Lotto complement each other well on this track with this beat for sure. I think the energy and the flows that they were spitting on this track really kept it captivating for me, and the beat in the background was going kind of hard as well. So not a bad track, a decent track for sure. Looking up. Next track, Bust My Watch.
TPN put her in the spot. Turn it up, make another knot. Flexing on the ground where you stay. Saving these bitches with a K. Stand out the way, get
It's a unique beat, man. That had me raising eyebrows. That's a unique beat, and it goes hard too. Definitely fucking with the production. Yeah, this whole entire track is just basically Offset just flexing how he doesn't need to flex. He knows that he has a lot of money. He knows everybody knows that he has a lot of money, and at this point, it's just not worth for him to even try and flex on anybody. Nothing too crazy on this track either. The beat on this track, that was very, very unique for sure. Sounds really good in my opinion. I think the way it was mixed into the track was really good too. So decent beat overall. Not much to go through in this track. It was a short track too, 1 minute and 57 seconds. So nothing too crazy. Next track, Dope Boy featuring Young Nudie. Come on, I need some dark shit. Come on, please.
boy. Cash won't do no credit. Bags of the gas like
This is
this.
exactly what I
Shooters
need.
on the roof be ready. He ran with their work and they kidnapped him. I really don't know what the hell happened. 100 rats on me now in the book bag.
I thought
But
you
my
were
mom
playing
knew
this
how
track.
she would.
Can't front me now. You can't sell me now. Can't sell me now. I come to taking gun. I put trap.
All I can really do is sigh at that song. I think Offset was going crazy at the beginning. Easily imagine 21 being on a song like this, but instead we have Offset going in on it with Young Nudie. And Offset definitely does his thing. He has a lot of flow switches throughout his verses, and it was going really good until I heard the first word that Young Nudie said and the way he said it, and I instantly knew that his verse was going to be a miss, and it was a miss in my opinion. I just don't think that he kept up the same energy that Offset had during his verses. Very disappointing track, but I'll definitely keep this track just for Offset's verse for sure. Next track, Princess Cut featuring Chloe.
Flooded that bitch in some diamonds. I call her diamonds. She looking fine to me. Know I'm the king, baby, bow to me. That nigga broke, he a clown to me.
Ferrari, I told him drive for me. I like my niggas all stylish. D on my wallet, I told him vibe with me. Told a nigga.
She's flowing on this track, man. She's definitely a standout on this track. I can see the vision with that track for sure. We got Offset and Chloe both giving their own perspectives of how they view themselves in relationships, you know, the alpha dogs, where they basically are the ones calling all the shots. And I think Offset verse kind of doesn't live up to the beginning little intro, because my expectations were so high with that little melody that was playing, but I don't think it got carried throughout the whole track, which was a big missed opportunity in my opinion. And Offset's verse was nothing too crazy out of the ordinary, but once Chloe's verse came in and I saw that what they were trying to do on this track, it kind of put it all together in a nice way. So I think this is a good track for sure. On to the next one, Jealousy featuring Cardi B.
There's a lot of drama between you and your beautiful wife, Cardi B.
It's probably because he keeps fucking talking about fucking hoes and shit. I already heard this song. It's not a bad track for sure. But I'm gonna skip it for now. Go on to the next one, Blame It on Set.
They can't be too upset. I could've kept it to myself. They can't be.
If he starts one more track with a really hard beat and then proceeds to just let me down, I'm gonna lose my shit. Because there's been a good handful of tracks here where I've been catfished, and I don't want that to happen to me again. Okay, Offset, so you better watch out. Because even if you do, I ain't gonna do nothing about it. So do what you want, bro.
Too upset myself. I done broke bread, cut checks. They can't be too upset. I took that rope off my neck. They couldn't.
Dude, this track is 4 minutes long. I just know it's gonna be let down. That track had a lot going for it. Overall, I think 4 minutes for Offset to hold my attention is just not something that's gonna happen, man. Like, in this track, he kind of swayed off a little bit, talking about how he's been out of the scene for a couple of years. He knows who's truly on his side, who he knows who's backstabbed him, who he can trust and who he can't trust. I definitely understand the message. I understand the name and the topics that he's talking about. It's all kind of vetting. I'll blame it on Set. The next track now, Upside Down.
Feel like everything is upside down. Feel like everything is upside down. Notice how I'm going down, 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 down.
You notice how I'm going down, down, down? Don't do what to me. Do it to me, man. Come on. I think I really wanted to like that track. I just think the chorus really is just what killed it for me. I think Offset did his thing on his verses. I was vibing with it. I think the outro was just so elegantly beautiful. Ultimately, I just think the chorus is what really brought the song down. No pun intended, you know what I'm saying? The beat, Offset's verse, and the outro for sure is something that's very memorable about this track for sure. On to the next and last track, Healthy.
My Lord, can you help me? Keeping all this to myself, oh no. I feel way.
What do you keep it to yourself, Offset? Come on, man. This is the time and place to let it all out. You know, save space here. Save space. You know, you got one brown dude on your side. You're welcome.
Money don't buy happiness, but I've been happy ever since.
Listen, whoever says money don't buy happiness, okay, yo, just give it to me. Where was this the rest of the album, man? This beat transition is beautiful. Decent track to end off the album with. I would have loved to see Offset rap over that last transition beat. I think it was very nicely progressed into. I think that it was a missed opportunity not having any verse over there, but it definitely was a good way to end off the track. He talks about money and how it's not the sole reason why he's happy anymore. Obviously, being on the come up and having money come your way is obviously a good upside, but now he found more things to be happy about that don't involve just money. Final verdict for this album, man, I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10. I like Father of Four better just because I think the tracks on there were more up my alley. Not to say that this album didn't have tracks like that, but overall I think in this album Offset goes into a different bag of his. He talks more about his upbringing, the struggles that he's had to go through, what he's learned from his mistakes, and how he's grown as a person ultimately. In his old album, it was more of like an introduction to Offset because it was one of his first studio albums by himself, aside from Migos. Throughout this album, man, he talks about his growth as a person. He talks about his growth in relationships, business-wise, how he wants to be viewed as a person and leave a good impression for those that come after him, whether that be his kids or others that look up to him. He talks about his struggles and what he's had to go through to get to where he is today and become the man that he is today. And you can very much tell that he's grown, not just musically, but spiritually and mentally throughout this album. And you can tell that he's taking the right strides when it comes to the music. Some very good joints on here for sure, but definitely some letdown. But overall, I think that we can take away from this a typical Offset experience with a small glimpse into his creative brain and what he's thinking when it comes to his music. Most tracks are what you would expect out of Offset, and there's some tracks on here where you can really tell he's out of his comfort zone and much more vulnerable. And although some of those tracks may have not been articulated in the best way, I think a little bit of adjustments with the way that they're composed can really bring out the best in these tracks. I think some of them were ultimately way too long, which is the biggest downside of this album, I think some tracks could have been shortened up a little bit and would have packed a bigger punch in the overall scheme of this album. Production on this record is definitely something that needs to be highlighted. I was very impressed with how unique some of the beats were and how from track to track they all varied. Although they might have been prolonged, each track gave its own different experience. I couldn't have said that this track or the one before are the exact same beat, exact same song structure. So overall, I can prop that to Offset. You can tell that the production was taken seriously. And if you can't tell already, I'm a production man. I love to hear what's in the background just as much as I like to hear what's coming through the artist. But overall, I think a 6.5 out of 10 is a good rating for this album, man. I think I gave Father Up 4 around a 7 out of 10. So a 6.5 for this one. I think it's a good follow-up album for sure. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you in the next one.